The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, College Place, Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 38206. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Couple of images here. This is a side facing of the driver's side. We'll focus in on the cab next, where you'll find your auto eject shoreline inlet. Moving now to the rear cab wall, where you'll find your water level indicator. Moving now to the midship area. And then we'll move to the body section next. Moving around to the rear of the apparatus. Moving now full view, passenger side of the vehicle. We'll take a look at the body section next. Midship area. And then cab section. Let's get into some discussions about some of the options on your vehicle. First, let's start with the front of the vehicle, starting at the front bumper. Just underneath, you'll find open-ended tow hooks. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Electronic siren and PA speaker recessed. Moving new to the driver's side, mechanical siren. Out to the outer edge of the driver's side, air horn. Moving now up onto the bumper extension, D-handle gains you access into your hose storage for the front bumper load. Moving to the cab area, outer section, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam will be located on the inside. Just up from that, emergency warning lights forward facing. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find identification clearance lights. There are 5. Located in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. And then as we move up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center is where you'll find the Opticom. Let's take a look at the images now. First, starting with the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. D-handle gains you access into that space where you'll find your front discharge. It is foam capable. There's a swivel discharge just inside with dry deck at the floor level. Now, just for perspective here on the driver's side, and then let's go ahead and go inside the cab area first, starting on the driver's side. Affixed to the door panel is where you'll find all of our safety and warning placard information, grab handle, combination, door lock, and latch. Moving just inside the cab area. Let's start at the step well area. At the forward section of the step, this is where you'll find your air inlet. And then as we move up to the base of the seat, this is where you'll find your auto charge. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this becomes active and provides information regarding battery status. The yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, the gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find a foot pedal for the mechanical siren. And as we move to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the master battery switch. It's a quarter turn. And then just right next to that is where you'll find the engine, transmission, ABS J1939 diagnostic port. Below that, you'll find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. To the opposite side of the steering column, your pump shift, where you'll find instructions from road to pump, and then also from pump to road. Just a reminder, before exiting the cab, you'll need pump engaged, and OK to pump, green indicators illuminating when exiting for pump operation. To the right, you'll find your flat, mirror, and convex mirror controls. Also on the back side of this area is where you'll find the siren brake. Let's take a look at the dash area. We'll identify a few items within its components. First, starting on the left with the start ignition switches. Also a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage and disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the opposite side, OK to engage the high idle switch and indicator. To the dash cluster, you'll find the transmission oil, depth, and water level. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Located in the center, tachometer and speedometer. You'll find diagnostic information regarding your vehicle, displaying above and below the speedometer and also in the digital readout below. Let's take a quick look just to the right of the operator. And we'll start with the switch panel starting at the very top. First, starting on the left-hand side with the high beam flash for your emergency warning, Opticom, electric, horn, and air horn selector switch, front scene, driver side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, load manager, also windshield wiper, push for fluid. As we move just down from that, you'll find an engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, tire chain, which is a protected switch, and mirror heat. Pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the spring brake at the rear axle. To the right, Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, informational note, pump in drive. As we move just to the right, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Moving further to the right in the same plane, this is where you'll find your unit radio. And then further to the right, you'll find your mechanical siren brake, mechanical siren, and air horn. You do have a video screen monitor located here showing your display of the rear backup camera. At the roof level, you'll find an informational panel showing red information that someone is in a seat and not belted, green they are in the seat and belted. Also, do not move your apparatus when this light is flashing, indicating you may have a compartment or door open. As we move overhead of the driver's seat, let's start on the left-hand side with the yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 11 inches, length 32 feet 9.75 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 46,500 pounds. Also some switches here, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of those switches have been activated, the light will illuminate in the individual light indicating that it's on. To the right, your siren and PA speaker module control. Further to the right, traffic advisor at the rear of the apparatus. Let's take a look to the rear of the cab area on the rear cab wall, where you'll find 2 forward-facing SCBA seats and also 2 rear-facing SCBA seats. Behind the seat is where you're going to find your control module for your unit radio, also a 12-volt bus bar. Let's move to the exterior, where you'll find your Shoreline inlet, auto eject 20 amp plug. As we move further down, you'll find Alcoa wheels and Goodyear tires. Let's move to the rear cab section, where you'll find affixed to that door panel all of your safety and warning placard information. Also, manual window controls, door lock and latch combination, and a grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white and red lens lights. As we move to the rear cab area, you'll also find the lift and turn latch at the rear portion of the engine. This is for gaining access to the oil and transmission dipsticks for your daily checks. General view here of the seat configuration again. On the top of the engine tunnel is where you'll also find 12-volt access via USB and barrel style. Let's move to the rear portion of the seat, where you'll also find 12-volt access via a bus bar. This is on the officer side. And then a general view here, 2 upper portion box lights. Let's move exterior now to the side area, where you'll find the pump panel top mount. First, let's start with the crosslays. There are 3 located here, and also warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. We do have an additional pan door for accessing into the pump panel area, and also a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You do have a driver main inlet override because this valve is electronic. As we move further down, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges, along with the number 3 driver's side discharge. Pierce logo, American Flag Eagle. This is your large diameter pump inlet. There's also an access panel to access the relief valve setting. As we move further down on the left-hand side of the panel, you'll find a warning placard indicating foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also, the draft and foam tank lever. Driver's side auxiliary inlet, controlled at the pump panel. Female inlet. Pump drain, all of our associated color-coded and labeled discharge drains, and then also the manual pump shift. Let's take a look inside the pan door lift and turn latch gauge you access. This is for your foam operations. There is a foam drain and then also this yellow handle, which matches the information on its position for foam fill or operation position. Let's move just under the running board here where you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. General view of the pump panel area. This is a top pump mount. Let's go ahead and start on the left-hand side with a warning placard that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Also regarding fall hazard warning, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Also, your Husky 3 foam system specifications are located here also. As we move further down, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in just a few moments. Also, a rear open and closed inlet electric valve and rear inlet air bleed. Let's move just to the right into the red module where you'll find your Husky 3 control module. There are instructions on the placard, in addition with your foam level tank A indicator. Moving to the gray area, you'll find your master intake gauge and then also master discharge gauge. In between the two of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move further down, you'll find an audible speaker. This is a bezel that does rotate, so you can either increase or decrease sound level. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find the engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. And as we move further down, you'll find your panel here housing the panel lights, okay that the pump is engaged properly, scene lights, and then moving further to the right, you'll find your fire pump push to prime for best practices at least 1,000 RPMs. You do have an electric valve. This is the driver main inlet. At the very bottom, you'll find a red push button for your air horn. Let's move now to the actual valve control. We'll start on the left with the passenger side auxiliary inlet. That's the 2.5 inch on the passenger side. Large diameter passenger side discharge. And then as we move across, you'll find all of our 2.5s and also cross lays located here for activation. Let's move further to the right here on the pump panel where you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Embedded within that is the tank level. I'd also like to point out we have a tank to pump and then also tank fill and recirculating line. Just below that, you'll find the Watrous placard indicating the type of pump you have. We'll go over that in detail also. To the right, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges. What I would like to point out is you'll find the red placard indicating that that individual discharge is foam capable. Also to the very far right, driver's side auxiliary inlet, that's the 2.5. Moving down, this is the Watrous placard indicating the capacity of your pump, 1,500 GPM. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 PSI. Associated GPM at that test pressure is located on the left-hand side, along with the RPM at that test pressure on the right side. While in pump mode, you do have a governed speed of 2,400 RPM. Let's move around now to the driver's side of the vehicle. Just in front of, you'll find wheel chock storage, but let's look to the very top section on the rear wall. On the vertical side, you'll find your S1, which stands for Shoreline Breaker Box. You'll also find when plugged into Shoreline Power, your air compressor will activate, maintaining brake air pressure. To the right, you'll find the auto charger when plugged into Shoreline Power. This should maintain your batteries. Let's take a close-up look at your S1 breaker panel located on the left. This covers the receptacles in the body. Shoreline outlet. When plugged in, this outlet becomes active. As we move directly over the rear axle, you'll find a tool board located in the upper portion. D-handle gains you access into that space. As we move to the forward axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for an air pack. And then as we move once again to the very rear portion, you'll find when the compartment is open with the tool board exposed, there is a lock in the rear portion of that. Alcoa wheels and Goodyear tires. Moving now, SCBA bottle storage for one bottle. Ultra low sulfur diesel is the silver cap. When we pull down the flap, it exposes the 4.5 blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. Moving now to the rest of the compartments, at the rear portion you'll find a pegboard on the rear wall, adjustable shelf, and a pull-out tray in the lower portion. The release mechanism is located on the right-hand side. General view, all compartments open. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll take a quick look. First, starting at the rear of the apparatus, we'll start on the left-hand side in the image, where you'll find cupped switches which control the deck lights and also rear scene lights. Let's move to the center section here, where you'll find your two discharges located here. These are 2.5-inch discharges. Also some warning pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And also an additional warning here regarding fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we move now to the very top center, you'll find a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because of the lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Below that is your traffic advisor. Once again, the two 2.5-inch discharges. And in the center, you'll find your backup camera with a protective cover. Moving now down to the lower right-hand side, you'll find fall entry. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. As we move down into the compartment, roll-up compartment door just inside is where you'll find your rear inlet. Rear inlet air bleed. As we move around to the passenger side, toolboard on the very back wall, adjustable shelf, and also a pull-out tray. On the pull-out tray, the release location is on the lower right. It will lock into the outward position. Now to the center section, where you'll find an adjustable shelf. Forward and rear of the axle, we have SCBA bottle storage. In this compartment, it does house an oxygen bottle with straps. Once again, Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire. To the forward portion of this axle, SCBA bottle storage for 3 SCBA bottles. Would like to point out just in front of the axle is where your exhaust is located. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle. Let's look inside the compartment, where you'll find adjustable shelving and at the rear wall a pegboard. Shoreline outlet. When plugged into Shoreline, this outlet will become active. As we move now to the midsection, let's go ahead and take a look at the crosslays. Once again, there are 3 located here, along with a warning placard regarding entanglement. Also in this area, you'll find a pan door for gaining access into the pump panel space. Also, the cab lift is located here. There are instructions for its operation for raise and lower, and also some danger and caution information. Along below that, the powered equipment rack. Also some caution and danger information here, along with instructions for its operation. Just inside is where you'll find the hydraulic equipment rack reservoir. There are specific instructions as to the type of fluid. This is also located on the yellow placard inside the driver cab area. As we move to the side panel, you'll find a warning regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face it. And a entanglement hazard warning, and also a pressure hazard warning. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains in the lower left-hand corner. The American flag Eagle Pierce logo is your large diameter pump inlet. The green is your large diameter pump discharge on the passenger side. Passenger side auxiliary inlet, female. This is controlled at the pump panel, along with all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. We do have a rear inlet drain located in the lower section. In the pass-through area, we do have additional storage on both passenger and driver's side. Let's move now into the cab section, where you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, manual window controls, door lock and latch combination, and grab handle. Overhead, the air conditioning unit, also push on and off white or red lens lights. And then as we move to a general view here of the rear cab wall, 2 forward-facing seats housing SCBAs, and then also the 2 rear-facing seats that house SCBAs. As we move to the front axle, once again, Alcoa wheel, Goodyear tire, would like to point at a visual sight gauge indicator in the axle area. Now into the officer space, let's start first with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, grab handle, and window control. Overhead in this space, also air conditioning and a push on and off white or red lens lights. As we move to the forward section, the vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system airbag. It's located here in the bolster. Below that, you'll find warning information regarding that airbag and mounting any equipment in this space. And then also to the right side, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving just to the left in the officer seat, you'll find 12-volt access via USB and also barrel style. Overhead, you'll find additional future locations for mounting of equipment. Let's take a look at the passenger side. All compartments open now, and then let's move up onto the roof of the cab area. Would like to point out that this is a non-walking surface. We identify that by this placard located both on the passenger and driver's side rear portion of the cab. As we move to the forward section of the pump panel, you'll find your crosslays and then also pole lights and your master stream device located in the center. Into the dunnage area, top fill for your water tank. Moving now to the opposite side of the dunnage, this is where you'll find your foam tank top fill. Just an informational note on the foam tank for your Class A foam. There is a warning here, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. As to the Husky Foam System 3, this is the hydraulic reservoir fill location. Let's take a look at the ladder storage location. Ladder storage, we have a 24-foot extension ladder, 14-foot roof ladder. Also on the very top side, you'll find a 10-foot folding attic ladder, 3 pike pole storage locations. And then let's go ahead and move now to some chassis photos. We've got the cab fully tilted, and we'll go into some discussions on this area. First, let's start in the very front section of the chassis area. These are your front forward-facing open-ended tow hooks. These are 6,000-pound direct pull. As we move to the lift of your cab, just as a reminder, when you lift your cab, please place this bar as a safety bar in position. Once the bar is in position, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal cab cylinder pressure on both left and right cylinders. As we take a look at the engine area next, starting at the very top, this is your radiator recovery vessel. Moving up to the very top, this is the fill and sight gauge for the radiator fluid. Moving to the rear portion of the engine, this is your power steering fluid. Also, at the rear of the engine, you'll find your oil dipstick and then also transmission dipstick. Moving now, your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. As we move to the frame rail on the driver's side where the battery storage location is at the rear portion or lower portion of the battery box, this is where you'll find the positive and negative jumper stud location. Also to the rear of the battery box is where you'll find the hydraulic reservoir for the cab lift cylinders. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. This will conclude the additional chassis photos. Congratulations, College Place, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38206. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire Equipment sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.